Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirect, it involves Caitlin Clark.
What if I told you that, even years before 2026, the contracts for some of the greatest names in the WNBA are already creating a great deal of controversy? Never one to keep things to himself, Stephen A. Smith has apparently learned of what is going on. His response was one of complete, unadulterated shock. He is revealing what he describes as a crazy financial scenario that has the potential to redefine or perhaps devalue women's basketball's future. There is more to the WNBA's tectonic shift than just three-pointers and jump shots. It all comes down to undiluted, pure star power. The league was instantly transformed into a must-see event when Caitlin Clark exploded onto the scene. Sold-out venues, record-breaking viewership, and an unprecedented media frenzy. She was the sole contributor to the game's increased excitement and, more significantly, its profitability. The problem is that it's a huge one. Stars like Clark and her teammate Lexie Hull are currently playing on rookie contracts that, by conventional sports standards, sound almost offensive, despite creating previously unheard-of interest. There is a lot of discussion about how the league can balance its rising popularity with what seems to be a serious undervaluation of its best players given the discrepancy between the value they provide and the numbers on their paychecks. Now picture Stephen A. Smith, who is well known for his scathing opinions, abruptly adding another name to this already tense mixture. Cunningham, Sophie. Why are rookie sensations and a seasoned player like Cunningham being linked to a future contract expose? It's not only about fresh blood here. It highlights a larger structural problem with the way the league's most influential players, regardless of tenure, are paid. Individual pay are only one aspect of what goes on behind the scenes. According to reports, Stephen A.'s response went beyond simple annoyance. A near implosion occurred. It has been reported that he is completely deranged, not only challenging the status quo, but also projecting a future in which these differences might become even more noticeable. He is discussing not only the present but also the future. Additionally, it appears that the 2026 estimates are so outrageous that they have prompted him to reveal what he believes to be a major error in league administration. And everyone would be shocked by what transpired next. 2026 is not merely a coincidental year. The WNBA is at a pivotal point. The financial landscape is ready for a significant change, as new media rights agreements are imminent and the current collective bargaining agreement may be subject to renegotiation. Will the league take advantage of this chance to match players' compensation to the enormous value they are producing? Or will the sport be plagued by the absurd contract arrangements Stephen A. is implying, widening the gap between its financial fairness and popularity? Spreadsheet data isn't the only thing at play here. It concerns the invisible financial struggle taking on outside of the court. Agents are fighting on behalf of their customers. Players are battling for their value, while the league plans for the future. According to reports, Stephen A. Smith, with his trademark bombast, is removing the curtain off these crucial talks and exposing how these factors are influencing the future and salaries of the WNBA's top players. Furthermore, the picture that is emerging is very different from what many had anticipated. The question so looms large as we look to 2026. Will the WNBA eventually offer player contracts that are as strong as its growing popularity? Or will its most valuable assets continue to feel essentially discounted due to the irrational prices Stephen A. Smith is exposing? These choices will determine women's basketball's future on and off the court. Let's address the most pressing issue. Sports analysts like Stephen A. Smith are virtually combusting on live television because of the real money and cents. Caitlin Clark was committed to a 4-year contract costing roughly $338,000 total when she signed her rookie contract with the Indiana Fever. Yes, it is what you read. In her debut season, the player who has perhaps contributed more to WNBA prominence in a single season than over the previous 5 years combined is earning about $76,000. For comparison, some NBA players spend that much on a single suit on selection night. However, when you examine the economics, it becomes even more astounding. Television viewership for Clark's games is comparable to, and occasionally higher than, that of NBA regular season games. Her jersey went on to become the best-selling women's basketball jersey ever. Fever game ticket costs have risen, with some seats on the secondary market fetching 10 times their face value. According to analysts' conservative estimations, Clark's rookie season alone brought in an additional $15 million to $30 million for the league. Additionally, she was paid a small portion of that amount. Another emerging talent and Clark's teammate, Lexie Hull, is in an even more vulnerable situation. Notwithstanding her significant contribution to the Fever's comeback and her expanding fan following, Hull's contract illustrates the hard realities of the WNBA's pay scale. She makes about $67,000 a year, which would be absurd for a player of her level and influence in any other major professional sports league. The math just doesn't work out, and Stephen A. is prepared to turn the tables because of it. The season wild card in this equation is Sophie Cunningham. Cunningham has earned her spot in the league by working hard over several seasons, developing her reputation, and becoming one of its most famous figures. Her social media presence alone generates interaction, which in turn increases league exposure and interest from sponsors. However, the figures reveal a systemic undervaluation that goes beyond experience level when her contract specifics are compared to the value she contributes in court and in marketing appeal. For the 2024 season, the WNBA's highest pay was almost $241,000. Take a moment to process that. The NBA's minimum pay, which is approximately $1.1 million, is higher than the highest paid player in the league. Here, we're not even contrasting stars with one another. We are contrasting the NBA's absolute floor with the WNBA's best. The difference is more than just notable. It is cosmic, celestial, and unfathomable. The effect of Caitlin Clark. We must completely comprehend the unparalleled phenomena that is Caitlin Clark's influence on professional women's basketball if we are to comprehend why 2026 is such a significant year. This isn't media hype or exaggeration. Unquestionably, the numbers demonstrate a shift. The WNBA averaged about 400,000 viewers for nationally televised games prior to Clark joining the league. Respectable, good figures, but nothing that would cause network execs to become so excited that they can't sleep. After Clark arrived, games started to attract 1.5 million, 2 million, and even 2.5 million viewers. Her postseason outings broke attendance records, with some games drawing up to 3 million spectators, territory that the WNBA had only ever imagined having. The impression of the arena was just as stunning. The Indiana Fever, a team that had experienced attendance issues in prior seasons, found themselves unable to meet demand overnight. Waitlists for season tickets were in the thousands. In an attempt to take advantage of the Clark craze, rival teams moved their games to bigger grounds, and road games quickly sold out. After moving their game against the Fever to a bigger facility, the Connecticut Sun sold out in a matter of hours. Regardless of whether they were playing Clark or not, every side in the league was impacted by the economic knock-on effect. Sales of merchandise skyrocketed in every category. Records were broken by Clark's jersey sales, but everyone was lifted by the rising tide. As new fans learned about the league from Clark and proceeded to research its other stars, sales of other players' jerseys rose dramatically. Subscriptions to League Pass increased. Brands that had never thought about WNBA collaborations suddenly rushed to become involved as sponsor interest increased. Perhaps the most interesting story was told by social media data. Millions of people regularly viewed Clark's highlights, which exposed the WNBA to audiences who had never heard of women's basketball. Young females began bringing homemade signs to games. Restaurants and bars started promoting WNBA viewing parties. The topic of culture changed. The WNBA has evolved beyond a simple sports league. It was a cultural event, a phenomenon, and a movement. Clark will still serve out her rookie contract, earning less than many middle management corporate roles pay, even though she masterminded this seismic transformation and radically changed the league's trajectory and value proposition. It is said that Stephen A. Smith is going insane behind the scenes because of this cognitive dissonance, which is astounding. The crossroads of 2026. Why everything changes this year. It is impossible to exaggerate the significance of 2026. This year could be a turning moment for the WNBA's economic structure going forward due to a number of convergent circumstances, and the choices made in the upcoming months will have an impact for decades to come. The collective bargaining agreement comes first. Significant changes, more pay, better travel accommodations, expanded maternity benefits, and a larger revenue split for players were all part of the 2020 CBA negotiations. It was seen as a significant win for the players' union. However, that was before the Caitlin Clark era, before the spike in viewership, and before anyone could have foreseen the sharp rise in league worth. Both parties are aware that the next CBA talks will take place in a completely different financial environment. Second, agreements pertaining to media rights are about to be renegotiated. The WNBA was a distinct product with different viewership figures and cultural significance when the present deals with ESPN, CBS, and Amazon were negotiated. The league is now in a position to demand exponentially larger rights fees due to its demonstrated viewership, success, and demographic appeal, all of which advertisers seek. Industry insiders are subtly speculating that the next media contract might be 5 to 10 times more valuable than the one that is currently in place. Incremental growth is not what that is. That represents a total paradigm change. The subject of expansion comes in third. The WNBA is actively looking to add new clubs, with affluent ownership groups keen to invest and several cities showing significant interest. The league ecosystem might receive hundreds of millions of dollars in expansion fees for new franchises.